I think we look to capture, what the brand DNA was for all the brands that work or that are part of this company, and sort of translate that DNA to something that the audiences will respond to on those platforms. Now that's like really different if it's Instagram versus Twitter versus the website versus newsletters versus YouTube versus Snapchat. We have to be good at all of those things. We have to understand who the audience that we're speaking to on that platform is generally. So like what the age demo is like a key thing. On YouTube we're speaking to people who are 18 to 35. On Instagram we're speaking to people who are a little bit older than that in a lot of cases. And sort of distilling what is great about these brands. So with Bon Appetit, it was, we have this staff of amazing and incredible people who are developing recipes and working in our test kitchen who are experts. Let's turn the camera on them in the case of video and reflect directly who we are in a way that feels right for YouTube, which has been distributed to a lot of our other platforms. And that's different than what you see in the magazine, which are sort of more glossy food shots and amazing service and all the things that you find in our videos, just presenting that information in a slightly different way. The hope is that we can bring someone in through YouTube or through the magazine or through Snapchat and funnel them to other parts of our distribution platforms. And we're seeing that now with OTT, where some people are discovering us first through marketing on Roku, for example. They're not a YouTube subscriber. They don't subscribe to the magazine. And that's the first point of contact that they're making with Bon Appetit. They're meeting Brad, they're meeting Claire, they're meeting our hosts. So it's really important that wherever a consumer first interacts with our content, that it feels connected to the other platforms.
What's amazing to us is we've aggregated all these net new audiences, so the Gen Zs, the millennials, and we're finding that they're going to OTT and that lean back experience and really want to consume like fun, quality content. The amount of minutes that they're actually spending with Bon Appetit in the OTT environment, like we're averaging 56-minute viewing sessions, and I was just pleasantly surprised by that because that's TV-like watch times. So for us, we're just crazy excited that they're really engaging with it, for those number of minutes. It's just fantastic.
We've been pushing longer form storytelling on YouTube and other distribution platforms for video for a while now. So I think that the big thing for us with the OTT channel is we know that audience is going to be watching on a TV and nowhere else. On YouTube, we see about 15% of the audience watching on a TV or game console or something in the living room. But I think we can really understand that everyone who's watching on our OTT app, because it's not distributed anywhere elsewhere, is going to be watching in that sort of living room lean back experience. So I think we can even further invest into that type of content, but frankly it's what we've been doing with great success already on our other platforms. We've increased our ambition overall, and OTT is just one more distribution point that backs up the thinking that longer, good quality content is better on almost every single platform. And if it's not, we can create a version of it that's optimized for that platform, like on Instagram. What we found recently is that the most successful way for us to use our different levers to drive people to the OTT platform is to release content in batch on OTT, which is how Netflix does it, how a lot of other players in the space do it, so nothing new there. But rather than windowing exclusively on OTT versus the rest of our platforms, we're releasing the first episode on YouTube day and date with the OTT batch release. And what we saw with our most recent drop on an OTT channel with Making Perfect, our series where the entire Bon Appetit test kitchen comes together to make the perfect pizza, is that when people came to the OTT platform, 41% of the audience that watched the series in the first week did not watch the first episode, which means that they watched the first episode, we can assume, on YouTube, and then were driven to the OTT channel. And in many cases, we saw them come back to YouTube to tell the audience that in the comments section on the first episode of the series that I just binged the entire series on my Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire TV stick. In many cases, we saw people say, I went out and bought a Fire TV stick so I could watch the rest of the episodes of this series. And that tells us that our content matters to our audience no matter what platform it is.
First, we're starting with one of the new products that we actually launched at the Newfront, Prime Placement. So, our clients are actually able to integrate directly into this great long-form programming, whether it's passive or active. So I think there's that piece to it. Also, it's part of our prime time inventory. So if you're buying, our best of inventory across all of the various platforms, OTT is now included in that as well. We also do fun and great sponsorships. So if you're really in love with a series or a talent, you can actually own that particular franchise, and that includes the OTT space now. We've done a partnership with GE, right, and their appliances. And what's great is we're able to integrate them right into the kitchen, right, utilizing those appliances. But then also when we're talking about our new prime placement product, not only do you have an integration, into an episode, or in this circumstance, all the episodes we're actually filming in the kitchen, but you're able to get, an M card or a sponsorship card. We'll actually then take those integrations and we'll cut them down socially. So you have organic Facebook cut downs, Instagram cut downs of the actual integration. Then as a partner, you can actually own all the pre-roll and mid-roll that are part of the episode that you're actually integrated into. And then we can even do like creative add-ons, right? Like if you're really into the series beyond just that integration episode, you can kind of own that series in a large share of voice way with pre-roll and mid-roll. And then we'll even do additional social amplify packages to really push out the integrations via our own handles in like very fun and creative ways. So it's kind of taking that integration to like all new platforms and levels where the client can really take advantage of true scale that we have.
Now with video and the data that we have on all of our platforms, especially on OTT and on YouTube, we have such an incredible sense of how an audience is reacting to our content that it's almost impossible not to listen to them. While most of our businesses are ad supported and don't rely on consumer revenue like a direct to consumer business where you're asking somebody to pay for something, you have to respect your audience or you will lose. So I think there's really no way to create content in a vacuum anymore because the data points are so clear. It's so obvious when something is working and people are really engaging with something because they'll do what I just mentioned. They'll come to another platform and tell you how great the content was on another platform. That's really hard to ignore, and that, that example tells you like, well, that strategy is working.
We have so much data, like we have over 1 trillion just data points on every day what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're searching for across all of our various properties. And to be able to take all of that information, together and then actually utilize it to target advertisements, for our clients is just really robust. And we're seeing great success in terms of, true metrics, like success metrics. ROI typically is 2 to 1, when we're using Spire. We're typically seeing like 10% sales lift and then like 40% increases on brand awareness, on average, just when our data product Spire is being utilized. So a lot of our clients actually take advantage of our first party data just because it performs so well for them.
If you're not listening to data in content creation right now, it's one of two things. Either you don't like what the data says and you're choosing to ignore it, or you're not reaching enough people to draw meaningful conclusions from that data. Luckily, neither of those applies to our situation. We're reaching a lot of people. Last month we did 43 million views on YouTube on Bon Appétit's channel. I think it's impossible to ignore what such an engaged audience, who again is coming back again and again, watching 9 minutes on average on our YouTube channel. It's impossible to ignore what those people are telling you. I mean, they're giving us literally hours and days of their lives watching our content. So the least we can do is respect them and in some ways reward them with things they want to see, and like what better than delighting your most engaged fans. So I think if you're not listening to your audience, if you're not accepting the data, even when it's something you don't want to see, like, a show isn't really working, or like, this creative thing that we're doing, an audience is dropping off when we're doing it. We were really excited about it, but this is telling us that it's not working for our viewers. We're not making this content for ourselves. I watch all of our content and love it, and I love what we do. It would be hard to come here every day and put in the hours we all do if we didn't love what we were doing. But ultimately, we're creating this content for other people. So if you're not listening to how they're interacting with it, I don't think we're doing our jobs.